Hi guys, welcome to the 6 months review of this Toyota Supra 2023. This has been a personal car, but nevertheless we're going to talk about a little bit the overall, how it performs, how it drives, and how the experience of ownership has been so far. So let's jump right into it. So 2023 model has a couple of external takeaways and external features, one of which is the color, matte avalanche white, which is new for this year. It's kind of a pearly, obviously matte, looks really good with direct sunlight. I think you can get that through the camera. So it has these hints of highlight and shadow, super cool. So definitely one of the main things for this year. Second one is 19-inch wheels, which has a very different design finally. So ever since the car came out, we've been seeing the same sort of design. So this year finally they upgrade the design. These are also lightweight, which is cool. So not only they look nice, they're also saving some weight. So I think it's in the region of 1.5 kilos per corner. So the overall is actually quite interesting. So 6 kilos total. So that's the external. In terms of engine, in this market we don't have the 2-liter, so therefore this one is a 3-liter single turbo B58 BMW. We all know that by now. So this has a very healthy 382 claimed horsepower. I think from all the testings that we've been seeing online, etc., obviously we all know that this is 382 conservative. There's a little bit more to it. So very healthy engine. We're gonna have a look just to... All right, so very beautiful engine bay here. Although it says Toyota, this is just a plastic cover. You don't have to dig around very much to see some BMW badges, but again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So BMW, as we all understand and know, does very good engines and very healthy power outputs. This one again, 6-cylinder inline single turbo, super nice, has an amazing sound as well, especially in sports, although a little bit artificial from the cabin, but it has an amazing performance. The gearbox, 8-speed automatic ZF. This is not a manual. So again, this is a daily driver, right? So I don't think you should go for a manual when you're daily driving, especially in a big city. If you have traffic, if you're, commuting, if you're, stuck in traffic very frequently, I think the manual is definitely a fantastic option when you have a weekend, you take the car out and you just enjoy it in those times. On a day-to-day, honestly speaking, this has been a fantastic choice. Super smooth, very comfortable, and then obviously when you need it to go, kicks down like crazy. So it has an amazing power output together with that gearbox. Okay guys, so let's talk a little bit external design. There's actually obviously a huge heritage from the Mark IV into this one, Mark V. So all the Supras have been quite iconic, especially the last one. This one here obviously has a completely different design language, but it does take from the past on Toyota, especially the 2000 GT from the 60s and 70s. Amazing car. I kind of see a lot of it here. So starting with the front, very long hood, obviously typical with inline 6. You have the engine kind of sitting right where it should be, right here in the axle, in the front axle. But you do have this very beautiful swooping line, making sure that the hood finishes with this sort of nose. A little bit F1 inspired, I want to say. Not necessarily that Toyota is doing that, but it looks amazing. Headlights, fantastic, super clear at night. Have all sorts of gimmicks, very cool running daylights as well. Some of these vents are obviously fake, which is slightly annoying to say the least. It does add to the drama and to the whole racing theme. but you know, we could have made them like real, for sakes, like seriously. Nevertheless, very cool design in the front, really like it. That's probably my favorite angle, this 3/4 front, where you see the hood and the low roof line as well. Coming to the middle, we have some very cool lines here, like just to accentuate the hood. Another fake vent on both sides, a little bit annoying. Some people say you can remove them and you can install third-party ones. I think you actually need to chop the hood for that. You don't have an actual aperture, so I'm not sure about it. I haven't seen anyone doing that recently, but you can, apparently. So coming to the roof here in the middle, you have the double bubble design. So this allows obviously a lot more space in the inside. You actually have a very decent space. I'm 181, so I'm very comfortable. I think if you're up to 190, you can be very comfortable here. You have a lot of headroom, and this design actually helps that. So you have like this little hump on both passenger and driver, so it just allows you to gain a few extra centimeters. Together with that, it has a different or another purpose, which is this little crease here helps channel the air from the front up to the back. Therefore, when you come to the back, this ducktail spoiler here is actually functional. Talking about the back, probably not my favorite part of the car. It's not ugly, but it's a little bit busy. There's a little bit of things happening here that I'm not really sure. The taillights are very cool. I like them very much. We have, again, a couple of fake vents here. Again, I don't understand why. Double exhaust, very cool. It can get loud, especially if you're pushing the car, so that's cool. Otherwise, it's actually very quiet. You can live with this on an everyday basis. In the center, this is a cool feature, although a little bit tuner to my taste. But this is the fog light and the reverse light, so it alternates between both. It's a cool idea just to clean up the whole thing. Talking about the logo, it's actually quite cool. So this is a throwback from the past, right? So this is exactly the same font and the same logo that we had in the Mark IV Supra in the 90s. I guess we all played PlayStation and other games like Gran Turismo and stuff. So we saw this logo quite a lot in our school days. So it's super, super nice to come here, walk to the car, see this logo, and just, you know, you realize that you actually are driving not that car, but kind of the reincarnation of that car. So it's a very cool. I do love that. The black badge means it's automatic. The red badge would mean that it's a manual, so you can differentiate both externally by that, and that's the only way you can differentiate both manual and automatic models. And that's it, Tom, actually. Design. Okay, so this is the key, which is obviously a BMW key, as probably you guys can see. It's very light. You cannot put this on a key ring chain because this is too thin. Like, there's a couple of things on this design that I really don't like. But, you know, it has a little red stripe and whatever, so okay, I guess. Okay, and the key, why is it important, especially if you're coming from the outside, is the only way to open the trunk. So there's no physical latch or button to open the latch here, so none of this obviously opens your trunk, even if the car is unlocked. So you always need to use the key, which, you know, to be honest, probably one of the things that I really don't like about the car. But in any way, you have a button, you press, you hold, open the trunk, and off we go. Now, in terms of space, it's actually quite generous. Obviously, it's not a SUV. It's not something that you can carry like a lot of things. You obviously can fit a very large suitcase and maybe a couple of other little things. Like, it's not very big. It does fit a golf set, barely, but it does kind of do the job for everyday job. This car particularly has the optional sound system, which means we have a sound box right there in between the trunk and the front seats, which does take a little bit of space. Unfortunately, the sound is okay. Is it worth? Yeah, I think so, but you know, it does take away a little bit from storage. Nevertheless, easy access is a little bit narrow, as you can see, but once you get your stuff in here, it's actually quite wide. It comes all the way to the sides. Has double lamp, so you have quite a nice illumination at night. This whole thing comes out. You can actually pull it out and or just fold it, whatever. It's very practical. A couple of things that I really like is the two little hooks here on the side. You can actually put, you know, your little shopping bags. If you have something that you don't want to go around it, you can actually put them there, which is nice. And overall, that's your trunk. Okay guys, so now coming to the interior, the first thing you'll notice is that the access and, you know, the overall window situation and visibility situation is not world class by any measure. So this is in the region of your average Camaro, of your average, you know, low roofline sports car. I think a Camaro would be probably a very good comparison. So the roofline, although it has a lot of headroom, which is great, but then the design cue is such that this area here comes down a little bit and just makes the window kind of narrow. Now, it looks cool when you're driving, and once you get used to it, it took me like about a month to get used to it. It's actually fine. It's not that you're not able to see, you know, traffic or whatever is going on, but you do miss a little bit of this 5 centimeters here. So, and obviously when you're pulling out and kind of walking out of the car, your head tends to, you know, maybe bang there a little bit. You do get used to it, so you just bend a little bit. But that's on the window situation. Front visibility is really good. Again, a very low roof line, therefore the windshield is quite narrow and not very tall. But you have very good visibility. The center area, this area here between the screen and the rear view mirror, you literally have a very, very thin strip of visibility, and it kind of falls in your right corner, so in your right corner wheel. Not ideal. Either of these could be smaller, kind of differently positioned, so perhaps that's something to look at in the future, but it's livable with. So coming to the rest of the interior, the other thing that differentiates a 2023 model from 22 or 21 are the seats. Same design, but different materials. So whilst before you have the full seat in red, now you have the center and obviously the seat itself in Alcantara, which is a very nice touch. I was not very fond of the full red interior with the full red seats. This kind of does it for me, which you have black with some red accents. Really cool. I really like it. It's one of my favorite things in the interior. So well done, Toyota, for that. It's actually quite nice. A couple of details. Although this seems like, you know, a racing seat where you can actually put like a 4-point or a 5-point seat, it is not. This is not open, unfortunately. So, you know, missed opportunity there. It's race inspired, but it's not necessarily racing ready. So moving from the seats to the center console, red leather, cool, I like it. 2 cup holders here, very decent size. I actually use it to put the phone or whatever. Unlike what a lot of people say online, you do not put your elbow in it unless you literally want to. So, you know, let's stop with that. You have a lot more space for the driver than the passengers. So for the driver, it's very easy to just lay the elbow in this area here. So it's very comfortable. For the passenger, probably it's a different story, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess. Moving to the center, so here's where you have your main cluster of buttons. Carbon fiber finish, which is cool. I wish it was used across more parts of the car, but anyways, it's here in the center. Really like this design here, just give it a little bit more of a cockpit feel, super cool. Here you have your infotainment controls. Obviously, keep in mind this is a BMW base car essentially, so therefore if you're used to that, you're gonna feel right at home with all of these controls and swivel wheel. This is the last gen iDrive infotainment, so smaller display, but it has everything that you need. Wireless Apple CarPlay, which is something you're starting to see to become less and less common, so that's nice. Gear lever selector, poor material. It's not very nice, to be honest. could be a little nicer. The design is okay, it's functional. It's not the best feel, if I'm honest. So, you know, it's a missed opportunity. Tray to charge your phone. You don't really use it. It overheats the phones like in every other car. So it's just like for storage. AC controls, physical buttons, thank God, so you don't have to fumble around with your infotainment to change the temperature. It's super easy, so perfect on that. Some shortcuts to control certain functions. You can assign certain functions on these controls, so these are very useful, so very cool on that. And then obviously the display where obviously all your infotainment happens. The design is very clean, very minimalistic, not very dramatic. In fact, it's, in my opinion, very conservative comparing to the exterior. Here is very modern and very low-key, so I think it will age well as well. The steering wheel, the only complaint is too thin. I don't like that. It should have been a little bit thicker so they actually feel a little bit more grip. It's full leather, there's no Alcantara here, again a missed opportunity. Controls are fine, the paddles are fine too, there's a nice feel, although plastic. And the dashboard display is really cool. It's not adjustable, but you know, it serves the purpose, and you know, it looks good, it's really sharp, it's really nice. And overall, that's your interior. Okay, so coming to the driving, so right now we're in normal mode. It's very smooth, actually very quiet. We're like in a little bit of a rough patch of road here, some stone road. It's okay, it's composed, still on the harsh side, so it's not like it's not a Mercedes for sure, but it's okay, it's comfortable. You have decent space, you can actually, controls are easy. This is all very quiet and livable with. Now, but that's not the purpose of this car, right? The purpose is to go a little faster and have things happening a little bit more interestingly. So there's a gigantic sport button. There's here for a reason. You press that and the whole thing just becomes different. The steering obviously gets a lot heavier, sharpens the throttle, the noise increases significantly, to the point that when you're, you know, cruising at highway speeds, there's a particular speed that actually becomes really annoying, which is a shame. It just comes through the cabin and it just makes the whole experience of driving it at highway speeds a little bit difficult. But you just adjust your speed and you're fine. Other than that, what happens is obviously the suspension also gets a lot more heavy and a lot more ready for some high speeds. But yeah, it functions very well. It's very smooth ride. All of this is BMW, so it's quite a lot of good things in here. Years of engineering, and we have to appreciate that. You can really tell how the handling is the one thing they focused on. Now, pulling power down is a little bit of hit or miss. If the tires are cold, such as just now, it doesn't really grip that much. You need to warm your tires up a little bit and just, you know, wait for them to come through. Otherwise, you might feel the car slipping a little bit. But in terms of picking up speed, it does pick up quite well. It's a true joy just to merge on the highway and just be sure that you can merge with confidence. There's a little bit of lag when the power comes in, like not a lot, but you feel it, and sometimes you wish it wasn't there, so it could, you know, give you the power immediately. It's obviously a downside for the turbo engines, but still you can definitely rely on the power to arrive whenever you need it. The brakes, amazing, really good. I haven't experienced any fading or any issue with them. what else can I say? I took it to the mountains, like a very nice mountain road some time ago, and it becomes a totally different car. So this 23 model comes with a feature embedded. It's not something you can turn on or off, something called Hairpin Plus. And you can research, you can look into the menus. It's not there. It's just works with the car, and when obviously you take certain speeds in certain types of corners, the whole thing just tightens up, and obviously the differential, the brakes, everything works together and just gives you extra turning power and extra turning capacity, and the car just becomes really something else. It's a totally different beast, and this car was built for that. This is not a GT car, this is not a sprint car, this is not a track day car necessarily, although you can, but it's not something that you want to do. This is something to take to a canyon road, a mountain roads, and really enjoy those sorts of routes. Unfortunately, where we are, it's not very easy. They exist, but they're not a lot. So you need to consider that if you want something to just cruise, this is not the car for you. If you want something for comfort, definitely not the car for you as well. If you want a balance between all of those things and having the option to go to a smaller road, a mountain road, and have a lot of fun, then yes, definitely something for you to use this car for. Okay guys, so this was a quick review, 6 months ownership. So what are my thoughts? Should you get one? Should you not get one? Was it good? Is it not good? For the overall, yes, it is very good. It's very fast. It's an amazing everyday car. Actually has enough storage. It's very comfortable, quick, changing lanes, whatever. So it's very easy to park as well. It's not a massive car. It's actually very, very livable, surprisingly so. Should you consider one? Should you get one? Should you buy one? Yes. If you are okay with 2 seats only, if you are okay with making some concessions, right? This is obviously not a 4-seater. Sometimes I feel, the need to have a couple of extra seats, even if they were smaller. So that would be a very nice option. So if you are okay with that, then everything else will be just fine. And in this price range, I think this is the best option. Obviously, we have the Nissan, the New Z. Obviously, it's a direct competitor with this car. I haven't driven it. It looks amazing, although the tech is older. So it's a new skin in an older tech, and this one is all new tech. It's BMW tech, and personally, I do like that very much. It's very reliable so far, no issues. A couple of things here and there. The parking sensors sometimes go off, so minor things. For the most of it has been a very, very smooth ownership. And yeah, I do recommend it very much. Go ahead, book a test drive it, go drive it, borrow it from someone, and go have fun.